The United Nations Migration Agency says the number of people displaced within Ukraine has risen again, reaching 7.7 million. Aid groups are trying to help those who fled their homes as well as those still stuck in cities under bombardment. People face a daily struggle in places like Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv. It's been the target of indiscriminate shelling for weeks.
Their homes are unlivable after weeks of bombardment. Now the people of Kharkiv survive by collecting rainwater and cooking on fires fueled by debris.
We don't have electricity, water, any communication at all, including gas. You can't really cook here because the wood will be worth gold soon. It's hard to get it. If a garage is hit, you go and pick up panels. Where else can we get it? A tree is hit, we'll pull it and cut it. There is no other option.
With bombs still flying above, many are now living below in Kharkiv's metro stations. Some have been camped here for weeks.
We brought several blankets with us, came here and now live next to the ticket machines. Now I believe that was the best decision.
They pace the platforms to stay active. Doctors try to help the many elderly with medical conditions. Parents distract their children from the realities of war. For many, finding food has become a daily challenge. These Kharkiv residents gather what vegetables and canned goods they can find to cook borscht, sharing what little they have. In Kramatorsk, near the front line, public transport still operates, but medicine is running out.
It's bad that there are no drugs in the pharmacies and that only a few pharmacies are still open. If more pharmacies were open, it would be better.
Millions of Ukrainians have fled to cities further west, living in cramped shelters like this one in Dnipro, remembering the comforts they used to have.
I had a small piece of land. We planted everything there: tomatoes, cucumbers and greenery. There was a flower bed in front of our house.
Now many rely only on donations. Aid groups warn the humanitarian situation is worsening as the tide of internally displaced Ukrainians grows. For every person they help, more are waiting.
The UN humanitarian coordinator in Ukraine, Osnat Lubrani, has been trying to get into the besieged city of Mariupol. Here's what he says about the situation there.
Mariupol is an unfolding tragedy, and I think that we have continuously been trying to get in there. I was actually accompanying a convoy that we were ready to go in, but unfortunately it hasn't worked out yet. But we are continuously trying to ask for those pauses so that we may be able to go in. So we're not giving up. We're not giving up, not on Mariupol, not on Kherson. We keep trying every day.
Here's a look at a couple of other developments related to the war in Ukraine. Investigators from the United Nations have documented the killing of nearly 50 civilians in the town of Bucha near Kiev. They say Russian troops executed some of the victims. Ukrainian forces discovered mass graves in Bucha following the withdrawal of Russian units from the area. President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia wants to hold an illegitimate referendum on independence in the south of Ukraine. He told residents in the occupied regions of Kherson and Zaporizhzhia not to give their personal information to Russian forces. The vote is seen as an attempt by Moscow to legitimize its occupation. And the leaders of Britain and India have called for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine. Prime Ministers Boris Johnson and Narendra Modi made the appeal during talks in Delhi. The two leaders also signed trade and defense agreements to reduce India's reliance on Russian fossil fuels and weapons.